is Radio Talk from the Radio Academy.
Hi, I'm Graham Mack, and welcome to a special international edition of Radio Talk from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm here to cover the annual Talk Show Boot Camp, and I'm with its creator, Don Anthony.
We wanted an event in talk radio that put more emphasis on the talk personality on the show, where we combine programming with a little bit of emphasis on doing your show, how to present better, and so forth.
What am I going to see here?
I think what you're going to really see is a real fusion between personalities on the air, younger talk personalities, because what's happened, talk here is different than it is in England or in Europe. That here it's very political, it's very, spirited, it's us versus them, the bad guys versus the good guys, and it's evolving, it's beginning to change because it can't just be political anymore, it's going to expand.
You say it's evolving. The political talk on the AM band is to the right of center. Most of those people don't believe in evolution.
Hi, I'm Scotty Hughes. I'm news director for the Tea Party News Network.
Now, we've heard a little bit about the Tea Party. Just explain what they are.
Well, the Tea Party is a grassroots movement of people that want to restore America back to how it was originally founded when it comes to fiscal issues, low government, taxation with representation, and keeping the government out of not only our pocketbooks, but out of our communities and out of our families.
Well, how can you be a news network if you have an agenda?
Well, we're not your traditional news network. We never say we don't have to be fair and balanced. We don't have to sit here and say that we are coming at this from a conservative, what a Tea Party person would want to hear, and the information that they want to hear, the questions that they want to have asked. We don't have, just because it says news doesn't mean that you have to be completely give the facts exactly and don't put any opinion into it.
Now I'm with John Miller from Arbitron. Now, they're the people that do the radio ratings in the USA, and it's a little bit different to in the UK. You don't use diaries anymore here.
Right. We use an electronic a meter that people carry around, and it captures what people are exposed to on the radio.
Now, it's called PPM.
Yes.
Walk us through how it works.
Sure. So it literally looks like a little pager. And
PPM is personal people meter.
Personal people meter, yes, thank you. And it literally looks like a little pager. And we basically pay people to carry it around with them at all times. And the meter can hear an embedded code within the audio broadcast. So it literally has to be able to hear the radio. It doesn't hear, it doesn't hear the words or the music. It hears a code that is embedded within that the meter can pick up. So it tells what you are exposed to. Not necessarily what you might remember if you were asked or what your perception is, but literally what are you exposed to throughout your day as you're coming into contact with radio.
What's been the biggest surprise?
When they tune in, it's not a 2-hour listening event or anything. It's somewhere around 10 minutes. In the diary, it is about how long you spend because people are remembering it. So you're trying to get someone to remember, oh, I was there the whole hour, I was there the whole show. The meter is, you're going to tune away. We know what's going to happen. I've got to be able to bring you back. I've got to drive you back to the station again and again.
P1s aren't listening as many days as we thought either.
Yeah, that was one of the really interesting findings. I mean, I work for the company, and I was kind of shocked to find out that data, that the core audience is only tuning in a couple days of the week.
So literally 2 days a week, that's all?
Yeah, about 2.5 days a week is the average.
Is our current methodology, the way we do radio ratings in Britain, is it flawed?
Well, no methodology is perfect,
Oh,
right?
I knew you'd be a diplomat.
Audience research is an imperfect science.
I'm with Gabe Hobbs, the president of Gabe Hobbs Media, and you're the co-producer of Talk Show Boot Camp.
I am, for the first time. I helped in the very first year. This is our fourth year.
Now, we've just had the session there on PPM. Mm-hmm. How has it changed talk radio in the United States?
PPM, I think, has caused us to just sort of refocus on doing great fundamentals. We talked in that session about losing sight of the brand, what your station stands for, what it means to people, what they think of when they hear the name of your station, if they even think of anything at all. What we were trying to point out to people is, okay, we focus back on the fundamentals now. Let's get back to the brand because we've gotten away from that. So there's really two things you have to worry about. Fundamental good execution of how radio should be done to get people to listen and listen longer and listen more often and like you. And then the brand itself, whether it's the personality or the station, what you stand for, why people would use you as a utility or as a radio station.
Let's talk about the brand first then. How would you reinforce the brand?
Well, obviously, ideally, in a perfect world, marketing and crafting a message.
A lot of money about now, though, Gabe.
That's absolutely true, but crafting a message that's very consistent, the execution being consistent, deciding who you are. A lot of stations don't know who they are. I would like it, and if you were a music station, for instance, and you were playing, a Merle Haggard song, and then an AC/DC song, and then a Beatles song, and then a Mantovani song, that would be kind of dumb. But you hear talk stations do that in their own way. They'll talk about so many different things, or the host will be a Jekyll and Hyde sort of type person who you never quite know what you're going to get. And listen, a certain amount of unpredictability is a good thing, but it still has to be consistent within a brand. If you're going to be the conservative politics station, then be that, damn it. Don't all of a sudden start talking about our waitresses at Hooters restaurant. Don't, try to be all things to all people. We learned that in music radio in the 60s. Sometimes I wonder if we've learned it in spoken word radio at all.
As far as execution goes, you made an interesting counterintuitive point just now in the session that you should tell the punchline and then the joke. Can you explain that for us?
Sure. People have a lot of options now. They have their phones. They have lots of buttons on the dashboard, perhaps in their automobile. They have, so many different distractions that the attention span of the average person has dropped dramatically. We think it's now somewhere in the 3-minute range. So if you're going to get someone to listen to you, you need to tell them why first. You need to give them the punchline. It's punchline, then the joke. It's how the story ends, then the story. It's counterintuitive. The brain doesn't want to do it. That's not the way books are. That's not the way TV shows are, and they shouldn't be. TV's completely different. We make appointments and decide to watch a TV show start to finish. That's one thing. People don't decide that with radio. It usually comes on when you get in the car and goes off when you arrive at your destination. So you have to tell them up front, I hate Manchester United. They're the worst football team ever. And then tell them why, as opposed to this long 10, 12-minute monologue that concludes with this notion that Manchester United is horrible. You've lost them long before you get there.
I'm with I'm with talk personality Rusty Humphries. Hi, Rusty.
Hey, how's it going?
Now, just give us some perspective. How many stations are you on?
I'm on a little over 300.
300 stations across North America?
Yes.
And how did that happen?
Well, when you're a very handsome man, what they do in America is they give you a lot of radio stations. The more handsome, the more stations, so that's why I'm up there.
Well, you must have started out in a small market.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, I started sweeping the parking lot of a radio station. My first day, I went and got a chance to interview a basketball coach who swore at me because I asked him a question that was really stupid at the time. And because he swore at me so much, the radio station thought it was very funny. And here's our Cub reporter, Rusty Humphries, with Coach Lenny Wilkins. Beep, 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 mother, beep. And so they hoped that I would do something stupid, so they made me go to every sporting event in Seattle throughout high school. And so that's how I got started.
Tell me about your show.
My show is part political. I'm a conservative talk show host, but also I do a lot of interesting Hollywood stuff. I've got a lot of friends in Hollywood, Adam Sandler, guys like that. And so I get a lot of perspective from a lot of different sides. And then I also go and I travel a lot. I've been to Afghanistan, Iraq, Guantanamo Bay a number of times. I spent some time in your country, went to the London Central Mosque and got a little trouble there.
Finally, Rusty, you got a few products out there that you like to sell on the air too.
I do. I have my own products. We in America have to get out, our names, as I'm sure you guys do too. And I hate doing stuff everybody else has done. T-shirts and bumper stickers, and I hate all that stuff. I hate it. I hate it like I hate the Nazis I hated, okay? So what I try to do is, what can I do that'd be fun and interesting? And so I came up with a beef jerky. Okay, it sounds stupid. It's funny. I can make all kinds of jokes about it. But then they go and try the beef jerky. Oh my gosh, it's the best beef jerky they've ever had. And then I have a cigar, which is the best cigar in the world, I think. And it's called the Rusty Humphries El Presidente. Each year, a new cigar honoring a different president. The first one's honoring George Washington. And I got the best cigar roller in the world. And people try it, and they say it's the best cigar they've ever had.
And you actively sell these products as part of your program?
Yeah. I'm a capitalist. I'm an American. This is what we do. We try to make money. You guys over there with your free health care and all that stuff, you guys do over there for free. No. I'm here to make money. The money goes to a very important charity, a very important cause.
What's that?
The Hands Across My Wallet Foundation.
So I'm with Fred Jacobs from Jacobs Media. You had the results of a study you've recently done. Tell us about the study.
Well, it was the largest study ever done in North American radio. 170 radio stations participated, more than 57,000 respondents.
For you, what were the biggest surprises?
Well, the importance of women, I think, especially in sports radio, it seems almost like even though women make up a rather small percentage of sports radio listeners, they are very, very important to these stations. These are the people who are more likely to recommend, they are more likely to share, and they are more likely to be in social media. So that was one. I think another is that news talk listeners in particular, even though they are older, are heavily into video streaming, and they're also into gadgetry.
So are we moving away from traditional platforms, and one day could AM and FM be extinct?
Well, one day is a long time, but I think the key to all of this is to be where the audience is. I think that's really the lesson from all of this, is that the audience really is moving, and they are getting information and entertainment from a lot of different sources, and content providers, and in this case we're talking broadcast radio stations, have to also zig and zag in order to keep up with their own audiences. So I think that's really the biggest lesson at this point. The other part of it is I'm from Detroit, and the Motor City capital of the world, right? We still are. And in fact, what is happening out of Detroit with the digital dashboard, I think, is a very, very big thing for radio, because all of a sudden now we have essentially a tablet in our dashboards with all these different new options, and consumers are really moving to these cars and these trucks at a very, very high, rapid rate of speed. And that has impact on broadcast radio listening too.
You also had an interesting statistic there about the amount of in-car listening as well.
Yeah, more than half of our overall sample do the lion's share of their listening on four wheels right now. So there are implications there as cars and trucks become much more sophisticated media centers, because that's essentially what they're becoming.
Fred Jacobs from Jacobs Media, thank you.
My pleasure.
I'm with Jim Farley, who is the Vice President of News and Programming at WTOP, which is an FM news talk station, and, as it was announced here, the highest billing news talk radio station in the United States.
Actually, the past 2 years, it was the top billing radio station in the United States. Not just news, of any format.
What's the secret?
I think we've realized that we're not just a radio station, we're a digital news organization. Radio is only one of our distribution channels. We're on all of the others, Twitter, Facebook, email alerts. Connecting with people across all of these platforms, our mission is to inform and engage as many people as possible, as often as possible. We've got a sales department that does a great job. We've got a format. We are all news, 24/7. There are no recorded programs. There are no actual programs per se. It's a continuous news wheel. But the way our commercials are presented, the audience never really tires of them. We do some news, we do a commercial. We do traffic and weather, we do a commercial. We do some more news, we do a commercial. We do the sports, we do a commercial. And they're interspersed, so the audience never feels like everything has come to a halt. Stop sets are a problem in U.S. radio. Typically, a music station or a talk station runs 3, sometimes 4 sets of commercials. It may be 6, 7, 8 minutes in a row. Nobody's going to be listening after that. But our audience is attuned to staying because they know that in a very short period of time we'll be back with more of the reason they came to the radio station. And we try to make our commercials sound like information. And don't use music.
There's no music beds on the commercials?
Most of them. We tell them it should blend in. We've been able to do this kind of under the radar screen. I don't know if we'll be the top billing radio station the next time it comes around, but we had 2 years and it was a good run. Washington is only market 7. The first year we did this, Washington was market 8 in the United States. And so that was an achievement, and I give full credit to our sales department and as well as our news folks.
Now, having a news talk station in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., does that make it easier or harder?
Oh, it makes it harder. There's more that we have to to cover, and you try to figure out, let's see, is this a local story or is it a national story? Well, it's all of the above. We have a full-time correspondent covering Congress up on Capitol Hill because for us it's the biggest local industry. But he's able to talk about not what the national issue was, what our Washington, Maryland, and Virginia lawmakers are thinking of, and what issues are going to affect us.
What's the future of talk radio?
People are interested in other people. They're interested in information, and they're interested in storytelling. And as long as we have people who are good storytellers, we're going to succeed.
Jim Farley, thank you very much. So that's the story of Talk Show Bootcamp 2012. I'm Graham Mack, and this has been Radio Talk for the Radio Academy.